Hello, and welcome to the HSE Half Hour. My name is Lauren. I'm the Head of Networks and Communications here at Executive Network Group. And myself, my colleague Laura, are going to be bringing you this half-hour live show every month to talk all things recruitment and safety. So over to you, Laura, to introduce yourself.
Hello, hopefully you all know me by now, but hi, so I'm Laura Aucott. I'm an Associate Director for HSE Recruitment and Executive Network Group. What it basically means is the day job is recruiting safety people, but because of the Associate Director role, I get to do all this other sort of fun stuff, which is about helping to make the industry better, make recruitment better, make safety better, and that involves things like this, doing our live shows, doing various different events and talks and things like that. So yeah, hopefully we'll have quite an interesting session for you today.
Yes. So as Head of Networks at E&G, I work closely with Laura with the health and safety team, looking at research, creating white papers, and that's partly what we're going to cover today. So for the seventh instalment,
I know.
Yeah, that's flown by. We're discussing everything diversity in the risk and safety industry. So we're going to be using some of our findings from the remuneration report, which was released this year, as well as, we have an expert joining us. So to talk about the subject today, we have Jessy Gomes, who was nominated as one of the 20 most influential people in health and safety by SHP for 2022. So Jessy, do you want to tell us a bit about yourself and your background?
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you for joining us.
So quick introduction. So I think by now everybody are probably sick of seeing me everywhere. So I'm not doing it in purpose. I'm trying to do it with my heart. So I'm really, of course, passionate about women in heavy male-dominated industry after working for many years in the UK. But just to start, after graduating in Paris with a master's degree, I traveled to the UK, and since then I never left. I'm still over 13 years now, probably going to be 14. So my first safety work related experience started in the UK. I was graduating from France with a master's degree in quality management, health and safety, and environmental management. And I think I wanted to get this safety hat in the UK, not knowing the knowledge, not the language, and not knowing the regulations, because France and UK are quite different. So I put on a big challenge, which I always do, but don't follow my step. I'm just a bit too much. So fast forward, I have now over 15 years of working in various organizations in construction and engineering across France, Spain, and heavily in UK. And I support brilliant organizations, build environment businesses, and innovative tech-savvy startups to elevate their occupational safety and health safety system. So I save time to my client and energy to design really an integrated design system. And I look at from corporate safety in design for the most challenging project to have a stress-free project. Yeah. Thank you.
Very interesting. Why on earth would you choose to live in the UK over France? That's always my question.
I needed to learn English, and as you know, French people were not really good with English. I've been to Paris before and tried to speak to a French person.
No, fair enough. Well, look, I really appreciate you coming along to join us today. So, yeah, Jessy and I have known each other for quite a few years now. And I'm not just saying that because you're here, but you are just so inspirational, I think, for me in the industry, seeing the sort of stuff that you post and the things that you speak about. And you did a TED talk as well.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Yeah. So really, really happy to have you join us to have a chat about, diversity in the safety and risk industry. I know it's something you're as passionate about as I am.
Thank you. Yeah, it's something I'm passionate on top of being. My profession is safety first, and then it's more like a passion project to go and to support the diversity of the sector and changing and molding the new safety profession of the future. Yeah,
fantastic. Yeah, great stuff.
Fab. Well, as I suppose I should have started off the session by saying we've had a few comments and a few hellos. So
already?
thank you everyone for joining us. But please do ask any questions within the comment box today. Although we have, some questions to go through with both Jessy and Laura, I will try my very best to come and answer those for you as well. So, shall we start off, Laura, by sharing the report that we released last month?
Yes,
In
please.
particular, the diversity statistics. So, was it the head of level that you wanted to?
Yeah, I think if we start ahead of, because so basically this is the remuneration report that that Lauren and her team put together for us, and it's really, really in depth. If you haven't read it, I absolutely encourage you to go away and read it. So the focus was obviously on remuneration, but while we were getting that information, we wanted to get some of the diversity statistics. As I've said many, many times, I don't think you can make a change unless you know what the actual state of play is with things. We can't assume, we have to know this information. But if we looked at every single level that's in this report, we would be here for days. So we're going to look at the senior level stuff, because like Jessy said, she's been in the industry for 15 years. This is kind of the level that she operates at as well. So this report, I believe it was about 1,500 people, wasn't it, Lauren, that you...
It was. Yes,
yeah, fantastic. And this is all across the UK, because I know that's a question we always get asked. Does it include international? We do work internationally, but this is particularly looking at UK stats. And the senior level, to me, is where the statistics get pretty interesting. When we looked at the advisor and the manager level, the demographics, they kind of tracked with the UK census reports. They weren't miles out. And I think that for us was very, very encouraging, because it shows that, when we're recruiting people into the industry, we are taking diversity into account. We are thinking about this. But when we got to the senior level, the picture was just completely different, which I think is quite shocking. So if you have a look at the statistics here, it's predominantly white men. I don't think anybody was surprised by that information that came out of there. But what did surprise me is just how small some of the brackets were, with some protected characteristics not even being represented at all. That they're not in the picture, which I think is very, very interesting. And we've talked at a senior level before about, it's really, really important that your board level is representative of the people that work for you, is representative to the market that you're selling to. Because if you don't have people on your board that represent, who you want to sell to, who is working for you, you don't understand them. You just cannot understand them all the way through. If you've got no female people on the board, you are missing a perspective. People tend to always think the same sort of way if they're from the same backgrounds. And it's been proven, in the past, we've looked at some of the McKinsey report stats previously, where if companies have got women on their board, they outperform their competitors by 25%. When they become more ethnically diverse as well, it's like a 33% outperformance. So it's just common sense. But we're not seeing it reflected in the safety and risk industry at all, which I think is quite shocking. Now, that doesn't mean that this information is, 100% accurate. There are going to be companies where, the boards are more diverse and the senior level does look more diverse. But considering that we polled sort of 1,500 people, it's a fairly good representation, I think, of what's going on in the industry. That's our kind of thoughts on that.
Yeah, definitely, I'd agree with that. So, as someone in the industry at the moment, Jessy, does this track with your personal experience? What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I'm going to speak from my early experience, because even though I work in a built environment now, I'm more in an education sector now. But prior to that, I worked heavily for a main contractor for many years, and I also work for many consultancies in the UK. I think that the result of the report really reflects what I've seen myself. And I'm speaking from experience, and you are speaking from the data. So I'm not saying anything that will surprise anyone. For me, it's actually really, really in line with my early personal experience in safety in the construction sector. I did notice that most of my colleagues, probably 90 to 94% of my colleagues in the construction industry, was part of the majority demographic, as you described,
Yeah.
Laura. So I really try to don't focus on this. I try to focus on growth. On my career, I try to focus on improving my soft skills, my communication skills, my human skills, but also my art skills, such as my safety qualification. So
Right.
at
Yeah.
some point, I know so much that they couldn't just deny seeing me over there and being able to speak about safety compared to a man who has 25 years of experience, because I did had on my face several times. I've been working there for 25 years, for 30 years. What do you know? And I mean, when I started in UK, I was 24 years
Oh,
old.
really? Wow.
Really young, really intimidating to have to open your mouth when you have like this huge French
Yeah.
accent and
Yeah.
everybody's looking at you like if you were a unicorn walking in the middle of the room. And plus, I can't be transparent. You
Yeah.
see the color of my skin, so you just can't think like people don't see you. But still, there were like some instance where I felt like, what's going on? What was the problem? Is it because I'm a woman? Is it because I'm French? Or is there something else maybe I'm not aware of? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
it's a pink lips, something like that. So yes, of course, the workplace. It's like, I mean, principally construction. It's known for certain of the heavy culture they have, and misogyny is one of them. But what I would like to call is like, it's not available in all the workplace. You need to do your homework and find where to go. So yes, luckily outside of the workplace, I had a different experience with
Oh, really?
diversity
That's good.
in
That's good.
safety industry that is full of support and full of promotion.
Good.
So I did volunteer for IOSH. So when you see that in a workplace, you just don't get the support and the go and try to, as I said, to improve your skills and
Yeah.
be so good at what you do that you just can't be denied in
That's
the work.
really good advice. Yeah,
Yeah,
really good advice. Did
yeah.
you feel you had to, so you felt like you had to prove yourself more
Of
then?
course,
Yeah.
something that was apparent. It's I wasn't British. I didn't know anything about the workplace here. I had to
Mhm.
learn everything. On top of learning the language, I have to learn about behavior and the way to behave on the workplace.
Ah, of
The
course.
fact
Yeah.
you have to do tea for people, this type of things that we don't do tea like every 15 minutes in France, for people. So it was like, they're like things that you have to learn.
Yeah.
So when you come into a new workplace, I think it's really important for the people who've been working there to just introduce sometime a bit better for newcomer to feel
Mhm.
welcome as well. And it will touch down with few statistic letters that I will show. It's about young people don't not staying in sector
Yeah.
like construction because their first experience is so dreadful that they just leave and they never come back. And I think the statistics are clear. We have an aging working population in construction, so definitely there's something to do in terms of the PR and how you do the
100%.
communication. And I think having like people who look a bit more like the young people, it's
Mhm.
like,
Mhm.
who are this woman I want to look like? I'm emulating and I want to be where she is. And I
Yeah.
remember a couple of years ago, I couldn't say there were someone who looked like me that was
Mhm.
inspiring me. So I had to be that woman who will be, I hope, inspiring other
Yeah.
women. And I know I do it because I do have messages of people messaging me, and from all walk of life. It could be men, it could be white men too, it could
Mhm.
be a woman, it could be women from different ethnicity. They came to me and say, what you do, it's really amazing, and keep doing it, because I'm just human. I just share my human experience. And we were saying earlier, life can be tough sometimes, and
Mhm.
when it's tough, sometimes it's all at the same time, and there's nothing you can do. So you have to toughen up as well. And I didn't have choice. I had to toughen up, and sometimes I used to be called tough cookie. I remember one of my first
Really?
jobs. My boss used to say, "Jessy, you're a tough cookie," and I'm glad I was a tough cookie, because the cookie get eaten alive otherwise in construction sites. So
Yeah.
you better toughen up.
Yeah,
so many good points there, and stuff we've definitely mentioned before. Like you said, construction in particular definitely has a PR problem when it comes to bringing new people in, and we've talked about this on a couple of different podcasts and things before. So Kia, I know, are one company, for example, that for a number of years started taking part in the Pride parades, and they had a float and things like that, and loads of people were thinking, well, why has a construction company got a pride float? What's that got to do with anything? But that's what it is. It's changing perceptions, isn't it? It's showing people that if you come to work for us, we're not that traditional construction mold. You will be welcome. If you're LGBTQ or whoever you are, you're going to be welcome for us. And that perception thing is absolutely massive. The other thing I thought was quite interesting is you mentioned the culture piece, which I'd never considered before, like coming over to the UK and realizing that nothing gets done without a cup of tea first. And I never considered that.
Going to the pub, I think this is a really valid one. It's like I wasn't used to this type of things where outside of work it will be so important to spend time outside of work.
Yeah,
and I think it's something like if you're from another culture, you just don't. You have to break through certain barrier, and like being sometime going above your comfort zone to have to do what seems normal to other people. And I think culture is different, but it also comes down to personality. I'm not gonna say it's just culture. You could have people you have all walk of shame in different culture anyway, so it's also down to personality. So I think it's really important to not penalize people who are like from another walk of life.
Agreed. Yeah, definitely. I mean, we have had a couple of questions in. One for yourself, Jessy, around mentoring. Someone's just mentioned reverse mentoring is something they've adapted and it's worked really well, which I've heard is a great way for kind of diversity, inclusion. But Jessy, did you have a mentor? Did they help if you did have one?
I had many mentors, and I think outside of having mentors, and it's something I'll touch down later, you need to have sponsors. Don't get full by taking a mentor. I mean, don't get full. Do it. You need a mentor, several mentors. But what you need a coach. What you need a sponsor. And I think the sponsor is the most important of it. It's like behind closed door. When it's the end of year review and you need to get promoted or you need to have a raise, it's like, oh, we're not seeing that little quiet Jessy. She's just transparent because hopefully you're so focused in doing your job, you're not attending a social event.
Yeah,
I'm not shy, but let's play it like that way. And just not attending the pub. You're not going where the discussion are met outside of the office. So you don't have a sponsor. You don't get a pay rise. I'm sorry. You just don't get. We don't know who is Jessy Gomes. So it's really important. Yes, I had mentors. I had several mentors, and they all know who they are. They've been amazing with me. Sometimes they've been even more of a mentor because there were time of my life that I wasn't working anymore. And during this time, I had to pick myself up, and I have people who will be providing a shoulder and listening and helping myself picking up. So definitely get a mentor and a sponsor and a coach. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you for that and all the information that you've given so far, Jessy. But if we can move on, I suppose, to understand what the biggest issues face in the industry at the moment. So when it comes to diversity within safety, within risk, what do you see as the biggest issues at the moment?
I probably won't be winning in popularity by saying this, but representation does matter for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Numbers are here. I think I feel like a politician sometimes when I start talking like this. I would like to focus on this, focus on number. And if you want to have diversity at the top, you need diverse people promoted. They know all the secrets. What I notice as well, it's like I have a 4 years old and she goes to nursery. And last time she went to nursery, they play this game, the musical chair.
Yes, yeah.
You put people sitting, you put the music, and then you stop the music. And what I noticed, it's like it's just always the same people who sit on a chair. Always the same demographic at senior leadership level, sit on a chair. And if I manage to get a chair, I say, no, Jessy, no, you need to sit here. Come, Paul, you sit here. You sit here. And this has been a phenomenon I have witnesses for the past 13 years. It's like I think they pass down the seat. And this is one of the issue why people who look like me don't get to the top.
Right.
Because you don't see the jobs advertised.
Yeah.
You don't speak with the right people. You're not at the pub at 22 at 10 o'clock because you have a little one to put to bed. And, so, and you're a mom. Oh, you're so busy, Jessy. You can't do this type of thing. Just go and do your thing with your baby. So I do need money. I do have nursery fee to pay. I live in London, and also the things I plan to do with my life. So yes, I do need money. We all suffer of the increase of and the inflation. So yeah, this is one of the issue, and there is skill gap and aging workforce, and the lack of young population.
Yeah.
You talk about the biggest issues. I think this is one of them. It's free and on top of the young graduates are leaving the sector according to the construction deal report. Have a look. And I'm sorry I'm focusing on construction sector because it's the only sector I know. So
No, but it makes sense.
Right?
Yeah.
So and women and entry level students we are skills and enthusiasts. So I think it will be really silly to just get these people wasted in the workforce pipeline. So just use what you have. I mean, when we were in the 50s and after the war, they needed people to rebuild the cities. What did they do? My grandfather came from Cape Verde Island to support France in the 60s, 70s because they needed foreign workers to work.
Yeah.
So at some point, you will need women to work. You will need young people to work. You will need transgender to work. You will need people with different walk of life as you do. So don't overlook these people. And I think I'm not giving justice because I'm not giving all. And today there are lots of diversity. It's not just black and white and this Manichaean vision of one side and the other side is beyond that. And unfortunately, I can just speak about what I know of my own experience being a woman and more.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've spoken there. Sorry, Jessy, to jump in, but we've spoken about some of those challenges, and it's so difficult, isn't it, to cover every group within diversity, as you say. It's so intersectional that there's so much that's going on, and hopefully a lot of these businesses are making positive change. So we've looked at the challenges. What about some positive news, I suppose, for our viewers? If they're a diverse candidate at the moment in the market, they're struggling, what one piece of advice, this is for Jessy and Laura, what one piece of advice would you offer them if they're struggling in the market?
If you don't mind me jumping in first, so I think I'm going to echo a lot of the stuff that Jessy's already said from my advice. But she said that earlier on about when she started out, she didn't have anyone that looked like her. She didn't feel represented, so she had to go and be that person. I just implore everybody to try and to stand up and say yes to opportunities and put yourself out there, because that's how it changes. We need everybody in on the conversation. We need everybody putting themselves forwards and showing us what people can do. And I think, I know it can be quite scary to do that. I went through the same thing as a woman in industry. It's quite scary to start putting myself out there, but the response when you do is incredible. Like Jessy said, people will reach out and they will feel that connection to you. So my advice is put yourself out there, be bold, be brave, talk on social media, get to events, be very present.
Fab. Good, solid advice there from Laura. What about you, Jessy? What are your thoughts on that?
I want to thank Laura first because I remember the first time I met her. I think it was in Birmingham. It was the first IOSH conference I attended. And I went at the end of her presentation. She was just amazing. And I said, I have to speak.
Thanks.
And I went. And she said to me, "There's a change you want to see." I think this is just like, you give me goosebumps to have to speak about it, because I was lost. I was like, I don't know what to do. And then I do one thing and the next thing and the next thing, and I just keep going. So the power of momentum. Don't get discouraged by things. Just do the right thing. One. Second step. I've got another baby. He's 11 months. He's trying to walk. He's like standing. Do you think I'm telling him not to stand?
Yes,
No. He's putting 1 foot in front, 1 foot, and one day he's gonna be walking, one day he's gonna be running. This is us in the industry. This is you, the diverse candidate struggling. I can see you. I will say, do not underestimate also the power of being visible and the power of your brand. Laura is really good at it. Just follow Laura. I have my fair bit of doing things on LinkedIn. So just do it. And something I'm going to add, um, there's something I never forget. It's, you have to work harder on yourself than in your job. And this is what Jim Rohn, an American entrepreneur, used to say. And it's not to say don't work on your job, just try to work on yourself, and but it's not what I'm saying. Be so good on your day-to-day job, but make sure you get the skills you need to do that day-to-day job, so you become like this driving force that nobody can stop. You are good at what you do. Client can't complain. I remember I was so good at what I do. I was doing that I couldn't understand why I couldn't get promoted when I didn't had any client complaining. I was always brought into most challenging project, but there were no pay rise and there were no promotion on the line. And I think the pinnacle of this, when I returned from maternity leave after doing a leadership program, and then I was good enough to replace the director, but not good enough to have the pay and raise going with it. So I just lost it. I didn't work for 1 year. I didn't work for 1 year after that because I was so depressed. I lost my self-esteem. But look, today I'm here to talk to you. I don't say that life is easy. I've got my up and down. I don't say that I'm always a bit, but I think that it's really important for you to get this like relentless continual learning, getting education, new skill. You will become so valuable in the workplace that opportunity will be rushing at your door. I can guarantee.
Yeah.
And if you are stuck somewhere and struggling to gain recognition, then move on.
Yes.
Move on and fast, because things won't change. I did the thing. I did wait. It won't change. You will just be there frustrated. And I'm telling you, just move on. There are plenty of jobs. We are not trees. We are human beings. You have capabilities and self resilient, and you have the power of choice. I will advise that you do your homework, and next time before going for an interview, check your number, ethnicity pay gap, staff turnaround, clear career path, workplace culture. Who is my line manager? It's really important.
Yes, so important.
Because your line manager will stop your progression. You can be bubbly if he's there to by the roots, not allowing you to go ahead and helping you. It's dead. Forget. You can be as brilliant as you can. This is not gonna happen. You have to ensure that you are joining a psychologically safe and inclusive environment for your next move. And lastly,
very good advice.
Make sure to negotiate your salary for the higher market level bracket, and you have it. Now you have the reports. You can go in a report and don't go down and go up. Actually, you can add 5 or 10K more. I'm telling you, you can do it. 5 or 10K more above what the report is indicating. And if they don't want you, it's fine. There are other company out there. Don't worry. And research has shown that women and diverse employees are paid 15 to 20% less. So don't worry, you never overpaid. Do it.
That's really, I like that.
Very good. Well, thank you ever so much for that, Jessy. Some solid pieces of advice there. Love it. I think everyone, you've just influenced everyone to start looking for a new job from the same day. Yeah, I think Laura's going to be busy with calls after this.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you ever so much for joining us today. I mean, I've learned so much, and I appreciate only being a very quick half hour, but I love the fact that you spoke about mentoring, having a sponsor. Representation is, of course, key, and I think we are starting to see that in the industry, but there's still a long way to go. But from what you've said, a lot of it is around self-confidence and belief, and if you don't see that representation, it's hard. But starting to build your personal brand and be that person like you have, I think is really admirable. So thank you very much for that discussion today. I'll hand you over to Laura, and thank you for being the first of our guests on our Thought Leadership series. If anyone has any further questions, I'm sure I can direct you over to Jessy as well.
But question, and I don't know who was here, so in case I don't know someone put something on the chat for me or anything, Lauren, you can.
We'll pass it on.
I'll direct them over. But yeah, thank you ever so much. Yeah. Yes, definitely. You can follow up with Jessy on LinkedIn. So that I suppose concludes our today's session talking about diversity in safety. And I think we could have gone on for many more half hours with that.
Easily.
So thank you ever so much for the thoughts raised today. Laura, I'll hand over to you to wrap up the session following that.
Yeah, lovely. So completely echo what everybody said. I think it's been a great chat. Yeah, visibility is key. So yeah, I'm imploring everybody to throw themselves forward and take some opportunities. Next month's session is kind of in line with that, because we're talking about the future of the profession, which I think will be really, really interesting based on some of the stuff we've talked about, the gap in people retiring and people coming through. So yeah, we're talking about the future of the profession, inspiring the future generation. And we've got our second guest in our Thought Leadership series. So we've got Robert Jeeks is coming along to join us to chat about that. So that'll be a really good session. And I believe that is the third Thursday in March. So yeah, that will go live hopefully in the next couple of days. So keep your eyes peeled and we'll see you there.
Yep. Thanks, Jessy, and thanks everyone for joining us today.
Thanks very much. See you later.
Thanks. Bye-bye.